Hello everyone, welcome to the next episode of SpongeBob Now. Today, I will be talking about selling out and funny pants. First, I'm going to talk about selling out. Enjoy. One day at the Krusty Krab, after Mr. Krabs sings about his love and greed for money, an extremely wealthy man named Howard Blandy arrives and asks to buy the restaurant for an extremely large amount of money. Mr. Krabs happily accepts and retires, leaving SpongeBob and Squidward with a simple, "See you around." Afterwards, a new manager named Carl comes in, renaming the Krusty Krab to Krabby O Mondays. Mr. Krabs drives by, but forgets about it, instead going to the newly opened Bikini Bottom Hook Museum. Then when he is trying to paint a bowl of fruit, he actually paints a bowl of Krabby Patties instead, followed by a round of golf. However, he then realizes that he hates golf. Mr. Krabs has done everything he wanted to do and decides to go home, where he realizes he has nothing to do. He tries to talk to his daughter, Pearl, but Pearl kicks Mr. Krabs out of the house and tells him to get a job, a hobby, or some friends. Downtrodden, Mr. Krabs goes to the beach to look for a job, but hits a glass door with a help wanted sign. It is one of the glass doors of the Krabby O Mondays, so he goes inside to take a look at what job is vacated. Meanwhile, Carl wants Squidward to have more spirit, so he threatens Squidward with human resources. Fearful, Squidward continues his work with a forced smile. Mr. Krabs then gets a job at the Krabby O Mondays working as a busboy, listening to SpongeBob complain about the problems. The problems are that the patties are processed, made out of a gray material and synthetically engineered, and there is an automated cash register with no one watching it. Angered, Mr. Krabs complains, only to be ignored by Carl. He also finds out how the new patties are fake and disgusting. Now furious, Mr. Krabs shows the customers what the food is actually made of, causing them to run away, making the restaurant unpopular. Carl calls Howard to tell him what Mr. Krabs is doing. Mr. Krabs rips out the automated cash register computer and shoves it into the fake patty maker, clogging it, before he confronts Howard. As he does so, the fake patty maker overpress arises, exploding and destroying the entire restaurant. Mr. Krabs buys back the restaurant from Howard at full price and changes the restaurant's name back to the Krusty Krab, saying that he got back the love of his dear friends. That is, until he demands SpongeBob and Squidward to clean up a mess that they made. Next, I'm going to talk about funny pants. Enjoy. One morning in Bikini Bottom, SpongeBob tells Squidward it's time for work and says, "Another day, another dollar," but Squidward says, "More like another nickel," which makes SpongeBob laugh so uncontrollably, that Squidward has to go through a whole day at work with SpongeBob laughing longer than he usually does, which inadvertently takes a toll on his sanity. The next day at work, the madness continues, and after SpongeBob told a nickel joke to a couple of customers, Squidward has decided he has had enough of SpongeBob's incessant laughter. Suddenly, SpongeBob starts to hurt himself when he laughs. So, Squidward takes advantage of this strange discovery and tricks him into believing that SpongeBob has a laugh-related illness by posing as a doctor who regards a sort of laugh box, which had been severely overused the day prior from SpongeBob laughing longer than usual. According to the made-up disease, if SpongeBob laughs one more time in the next 24 hours, his already overused laugh box will explode, and he will never be able to laugh or even give out the tiniest giggle again. For the rest of the day, SpongeBob fights every single urge to chuckle. First, he sees Patrick trip over a banana peel several times and runs away. Next, he sees that whoopee cushions are all over the town. Last, he sees a pie truck in an accident and some of the pie land on some fish. In a drastic measure, he buries himself in an open field to avoid being interrupted by a joke during the night. However, upon waking up next morning, SpongeBob discovers that he has completely lost the ability to laugh, possibly from his stifled giggles yesterday, only giving out a deflating sound. He tells Patrick that he has lost his laugh, but when Patrick sticks his head inside SpongeBob and lights a match to see in the dark, he ends up smoking the entire inside of SpongeBob and runs around in circles. Later, SpongeBob goes to the Krusty Krab to tell Mr. Krabs that he has lost his laugh. Mr. Krabs says that money always makes him laugh, but SpongeBob doesn't feel a tickle. Next, SpongeBob consults Sandy. Sandy gives SpongeBob books about laughter. SpongeBob reads the books, but still doesn't have any effect on his laugh box. Now utterly grief-stricken, all SpongeBob can do is bawl his eyes out, meaning more noise than ever. Feeling guilty, but still wanting peace and quiet after SpongeBob kept him up all night with his crying and flooding his house with tears, Squidward finally confesses to the sad SpongeBob that he lied to him just so he could get SpongeBob to stop his obnoxious laughing and have some peace and quiet for a while. As his weeping has been more annoying than his giggles, and after Squidward admits everything, SpongeBob regains his ability to laugh to see it has been a good joke and Squidward joins in the laughter. When Squidward brings how he used the boiling oil at the Krusty Krab to mess with the thermometer, SpongeBob immediately stops laughing upon realizing how Squidward tricked him and awkwardly goes back inside his house. When Squidward laughs too much, he begins to wheeze out all his laughter and collapse from it, and is taken to the hospital possibly from SpongeBob calling an ambulance after watching the whole thing from his window. At the hospital, Squidward wakes up from his coma and is met by SpongeBob, Patrick, Sandy, and Mr. Krabs. It is revealed that the laugh box actually does exist as a little lung-like organ and Squidward just broke his after overusing it earlier. So, the surgeons removed it and left it in a jar for the gang, much to Squidward's horror as he may never laugh again. However, the doctor points out that one of the others has given him half of their laugh box to compensate. It isn't Patrick, Mr. Krabs, or Sandy, it was SpongeBob, who shows the bandage to prove it. Shocked, Squidward starts to laugh like SpongeBob, to his great horror. He and SpongeBob laugh together before Squidward runs out of the building still laughing like SpongeBob in maniac state, much to the concern of the others. SpongeBob then concludes the episode by saying, "Ah, there he goes, off to share his laugh with the world," followed by his own laughter. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more videos. Goodbye everyone.